Hi everyone, this is Tom Schmidt coming to you from my wife's parents' house down here in South Carolina during this time, and I wanted to share a few videos with you all about what I believe to be the four corners of developing a solid foundation for percussion. So this is really some going back to the basics kind of thing, but certainly something I've found in my own playing is when I went back and started to examine these four elements that go to being able to make music at a high level with sticks in our hands. I really found that I improved greatly as a player, and a lot of that happened for me after I graduated. So I really established a solid foundation, but then going back and re-examining it through teaching. I was just doing a ton of teaching and taking any kind of opportunity that came my way, and that really got me thinking about these four elements that go into what we do with our hands. And so I started to develop this system, and so I call it the four corners of a solid foundation with percussion. So first is the single strokes, sticks that start at one stick height and come right back. Single strokes then are double strokes. Our upstrokes and downstrokes. And of course, the buzz stroke, or a long tone. Pretty much everything we do boils down to those four things: singles, doubles, ups and downstrokes, and buzzes. So today in this video I'd like to talk about ups and downstrokes. I think something that gets overlooked a little bit in our practicing. So one basic thing I like to do is start off just working on my wrist. So I'm going to keep my hand completely still as I work on these upstrokes and downstrokes. So a little note about that: obviously we're playing drums, and over time, with our rudiments, we start to develop a little bit of this arm motion, and that's great. I think that's important for being musical. But it's also equally important that we spend a lot of time working on our wrist control, particularly with these upstrokes and downstrokes. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about involves pretty much stationary forearms and just developing our wrists. So as I'm working on these ups and downs, I'm making sure that the stick isn't flipping out into my fingers. It's not a finger exercise. We'll have some of those later. So it's staying right along this lifeline. And I'll get into a little bit more of my technique and how my technique is developed over the years. But for now, I'm still going to keep this kind of V shape, which I think is important to keep your hands relaxed. I'm going to play up, rest, down. Now a little bit about the upstroke and the downstroke. Upstroke starts about a ½ inch away from the drum, and we softly, about the dynamic of piano, and quickly shoot up. You can just practice that on its own. Once again, making sure you're not flipping out your fingers. Really just an exercise for your wrist. Then the downstroke starts high, it can start perpendicular, it can really start anywhere, depending on the music you're playing, and then it ends low. So it starts at one height, and no matter what, ends low, hopefully at about a ½ inch or less. And when I'm playing the downstroke, I'm not forcefully playing into the drum or practice pad. I'm letting the stick bounce back and then end really low. I think that's really important. If you had your slow motion camera on your iPhone, you'd see the stick kind of hits, bounces back, and then ends up really low in slow motion. So it's really important that you're not thinking of this really hard, but you're letting the stick have a nice little pop, nice little accent, but it ends low. This can be done at all different dynamics, and of course you can really be extreme. And just taking some time each day, what I like to do, just checking in with my ups and downstrokes. That's really what's going to get your playing to the next level, and have that shading, especially maybe for something funky. All that little ghost note kind of stuff on the snare. What a lot of drummers are doing is a combination of upstrokes, downstrokes, and taps, which are singles, just soft singles. So I like to spend some time with students doing that a little bit every day, making sure you can feel the stick along your palm, and both your hands are feeling good about the upstrokes and downstrokes. The next step is you apply these to every rudiment. Just about every rudiment uses upstrokes and downstrokes. So what I mean by that is a flam, quick upstroke right before the downstroke. Flam taps, just add that tap to it. The paradiddle, down, up, tap, tap. So I encourage you all to think of your paradiddles as down, up, tap, tap. Of course we start stick control or whatever, just right, left, right, left, right, left, left. But our rudimental solos aren't going to sound very musical unless we're utilizing these different strokes and bringing out the accents and making music with the accents. Of course, there's a relationship between the accents and the melody, the old fife and drum melodies. So hopefully this stuff will take your playing to the next level where you can start to make music with whatever, your Pratt solos, your Wilcoxon solos, anything else, or maybe you're playing a march kind of thing on drum set, and you make those accents have a certain shape and a certain phrase to them. And you'll have that facility, you start thinking about this kind of thing. So what if I put them together, the flam paradiddle? This, I break the golden rule of the flam, where I shoot up and I wait so the sticks are down for a split second, and then back up. So you want to practice down, up, and then transfer it over to the other side. So my right's coming down, then I'm waiting and coming up with an upstroke. Then you just add the diddle. That's a nice way to think of the flam paradiddle. And once I started thinking of that more, I was less likely to fall with flat flams, which can happen sometimes in that rudiment, where if you're not really thinking of that upstroke, your flams can fall flat. And then of course, over time, you get some of that arm motion where there's like, you're like a marionette puppet and some of the strings attached to your wrist. And that's all great, but certainly make sure you can do these rudiments, play these rudiments with just upstrokes and downstrokes. Other rudiments, flam a cue, you shoot up and then down. So these, I think we have the soft flam, quick up and down, up, tap, flam. So soft, down, up, tap, flam. We have our flam cue. The radom cue, a little different. This, I do use little arm. For me, though, getting those accents out in time and keeping the radom cues moving, I think of this kind of stroke where I start low and I snap out the accent. So this will have a little arm to it. Just gotta quickly kind of snap that wrist out. Really useful stroke. Maybe on glockenspiel, you just have a pretty note. Maybe it has to be unison with the strings if you're playing mallets, and it's just got to be perfectly timed. A lot of times we'll start low and just go with that stroke. So a radom cue, you can just practice the skeleton, 1 triplet and 2 triplet, and think about that snap. So it's like an accented upstroke. So I encourage you all to revisit the rudiments with these upstrokes and downstrokes, just focusing on your wrist control. And thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more videos about the singles, doubles, and buzzes, the 4 corners of a solid foundation with percussion. Thanks for watching.